Hey there, Seb Frey the Realtor here, and guess what? I have now completed 20 full years as a real estate salesperson, and in this video I'm going to share with you the 4 most important things that I think you need to know after my 20 years of experience. If you're wondering what a true grizzled, salty, gray-haired real estate veteran can possibly share with you that might actually make a difference in your buying or selling process, then you definitely want to watch this video. Alright, well before I get into all that, I just want to say thank you so very much for clicking on this video. I really do appreciate it. And would you do me one huge favor though? Would you mash that subscribe button right there? And don't forget to click that little bell to make sure that you get a notification every time I put up a brand new, interesting, and fun video, kind of like this one. Alright, I'm 20 years into the real estate business, and you know, when I started 20 years ago, I really had no idea what I was getting into, and I certainly didn't know that I would be in it for 20 years, or that really even after 20 years I was nowhere near finished with my career. This is really only my second career. My first one was in information technology, and I did that for like 13 years, something like that. So I've been in real estate sales for much longer than I've done anything else, and here we are 20 years in. I really finally feel that I've come to, the place where I can actually, say some things more or less for certain about the real estate business, about buying or selling or holding real estate, which I think may be interesting to you. So there's really only 4 things I think that, well, I could go on. I could have probably 40 or 50 things, but who has that kind of time? Now, I just want to share with you the 4 most important things which I think every real estate consumer should know. Okay, so the first thing I think it's really important to know about real estate is that it is an inherently unpredictable affair. I mean, the reality is that there are so many variables, so many moving parts, so many things that are really out of your control that it's just impossible to know for certain what exactly is going on at any one time, because there are just so many things that are out of your control. You can never absolutely be sure of what the exact result you're going to get in most cases. So therefore, I tell people, do not focus on the results. Don't worry so much about, what's going to happen in any one particular transaction, because it may not work out quite exactly the way that you are planning on it to work out. Instead of focusing on the result, I advise people to focus on the process, right? So everything that you do when you are buying or selling or even holding or even renting real estate for that matter, everything you do, you need to focus on taking the right steps at the right time, because, in any kind of transaction especially, there are multiple opportunities for error, for mistakes, or multiple pitfalls to avoid, and if you just make sure that you are taking the right step at each step of the way, you are going to get the best result possible for you at that time. And by focusing on the now, from being present and just looking at what's actually in front of you right at that exact moment, you're gonna get the best result with the sale or the purchase of real estate. All right, well, the second most important thing that I want to share, and this is for home sellers, and this is one thing I really want to hope that you guys understand, and that is that there is no price for your home. There is no one set price, that actually your home is worth somewhere in a range of values, and that the ultimate sale price for your house, whatever it ultimately sells for, has so very much to do with the way that you sell your home, to who you sell it, how long it takes you to sell it, what kind of preparation that you do, what kind of marketing that you do, and very importantly, what kind of negotiation that you do. They say, what's the market price for your home? Well, that really depends on so many different factors. That's assuming that you even put it on the open market. That's assuming that you make sure it has adequate market exposure. It assumes so many things, like you will consider offers which are contingent or non-contingent. Many people do not actually take the highest price for their house, because there's other things which are important in addition to the price, which are terms, for example. So I want people to understand that the price that you get for your house is very malleable, and it is up to you to a great extent. And that if you want to get the very highest price for your house, you need to understand that it really does matter the way you go about selling your house. It does take some preparation and some work and some planning and some good strategizing and some good skills to make sure that you get the very best sale price possible for your house, and that the ultimate sale price, it is not written in stone. Zillow is not going to tell you, Redfin is not going to tell you, Realtor.com is not going to tell you. Nobody is going to tell you ahead of time for sure what your price is going to be because, as I told you in step number one, the real estate business is highly unpredictable and you can't control for all variables. But if you do want to make sure that you get the best price for your home, whatever that happens to end up being, then you definitely want to make sure that you take the right steps, which will inevitably lead you to getting the very, very best price for your property. And I'm going to say this also, is that the price that you get for your home, it could wildly exceed whatever expectations you had for your home's value when you began thinking about selling your home, so long as you do take those very methodical and correct steps to get that very best result. All right, the third thing that I want to share with you, which is very, very important, this is for home buyers. And, as I get older, and I'm getting older, as I get older, one thing that is interesting to me is that so many of these things, which I've heard about over the years, so many of these, cliche things which people say, actually turns out many of them actually are very, very true. And when it comes to real estate, maybe the most important thing, which I think is totally true. I'm sure you've heard it. The three most important things about real estate are location, location, and location. And that is absolutely true. When you're buying a house, the most important part of the house isn't the house. It is the dirt and where that dirt is, right? So you really need to focus on, as a buyer, on the location way more than anything else. And I think a lot of people mistakenly sacrifice like the glitz and the glam, the big fancy house, for that really good location, because really good locations, they hold their value the best when the market is doing its little thing like that. It's always those prime locations that are going to see their value increase more steadily over the long term than some of these less prime locations. So I said, there's three things which are most important: location, location, location. A lot of times people sacrifice location for lot size and square footage. And that's, maybe okay, depends. I mean, everybody has their thing, but the second most important thing clearly is the lot size. So first is the location, and then is the lot size, because the lot size will, to great degree, impact how big a property you can have. Maybe you could split the property, maybe you can put a granny unit on it, something like that. There's a floor area ratio, right? There's a lot coverage ratio. So the more lot size you have within any one particular location, that I think is a very important secondary consideration after your location, right? So location, lot size, and then square footage. Now, square footage, actually, that's a distant third. I would say square footage is a distant third because you can always add square footage. It is very, very difficult to add lot size. That can't happen in rural properties, or maybe you can buy the house next door and tear it down and double your lot, right? But it's difficult, very, very difficult to actually add lot size to your lot. And of course, location is one thing you can never ever change no matter what, which is why I say that location, one of the reasons why I say that location is the most important thing. So location, number one. Lot size, number two. Focus on those two things. And the third thing actually is square footage. I think square footage actually is also very important because in many parts of like the greater San Francisco Bay Area, it is very difficult and very expensive to open up your building envelope, right? Just the permitting that's required, the engineering that's required, the expense for adding square footage, it's way up there. And so while you can relatively easily add square footage footage compared to adding lot size, it is still somewhat challenging. So I always tell people to try and get a home which has the building envelope, right? The actual, the footprint, the building footprint rather, that is actually going to be suitable for you for the long-ish term. And then what's inside that building footprint, well, that's relatively easy to change. You can change a lot of that stuff without too much hassle. What I find is that a lot of buyers, they are focused on the surfaces, right? They look at the finishes, they look at the countertops, the cabinetry, the flooring, the painting, the light, the fixtures. And, you know, it's easy to see why people are really, you know, seduced by those things, because those are the things that you actually spend most of your time looking at. But guess what? Those are the things which actually wear out over time. Your location probably not going to wear out. Your lot size not going to wear out. Your square footage probably not going to really wear out either, but everything inside, all those beautiful surfaces, they can either actually wear out, get worn, they can break, or they can also go out of style. I've been to many houses that have like 1950s interiors that are, you know, totally intact, but they're totally out of style, or even, you know, styles from the 70s, 80s, 90s, even from 20 years ago. Those things are no longer in style, and a lot of people would say these homes need a total cosmetic refresh. And in many cases, it's just as expensive to refresh a home that was built 20 years ago or has a 20-year-old interior from one that has a 70-year-old interior. So I always tell people, don't focus on those finishes. I mean, they are important. I understand how everybody wants to have a nice, warm, welcoming home, but many of those things can be changed very easily. And so don't, you know, get seduced by the glitz and the glam. All of that you can change later, and yes, it takes time and money, but when you're buying a house, actually a lot of that stuff can be spruced up relatively quickly before you actually move into the property in most cases. All right, now the fourth thing that I'm going to bring up, it kind of ties back into that first thing that I mentioned, which is that, you know, real estate is a very unpredictable process, and you can never know for sure what your result is going to be. So you want to focus on taking the right steps to get you to that best result possible for you. Well, one of the first steps you definitely need to take, I'm going to say, and this may sound a little self-serving, but one of the first steps I'm going to say is to choose to work with a right realtor. And when I say choose the right realtor, in most cases, I'm going to have to say you want to go with an experienced realtor, because, you know, while there are unpredictable things that can happen, you want to work with somebody who has a deep breadth of experience that can make sure when any of these little funny things happen that they can be addressed quickly, so that you don't end up disadvantaged in some way in your real estate transaction, which could end up costing you time, money, stress, perhaps legal liability. You want to make sure that you actually start your whole real estate process with a very seasoned professional agent. And if you do need to find a real estate agent who like that, guess what? Here I am. Please feel free to reach me. My phone number is here at the bottom of the screen. You can reach me anytime, and I would love to speak with you about your real estate situation and how I can make sure that you get the best result whether you are buying or selling a home. All right, well, that is all I have for this video. I can't believe it, 20 years in the business. Who would have thought? It's been quite a wild ride, and I do feel that the next 20 years, and I probably will still be around doing this 20 years from now, I feel the next 20 are probably going to be a lot wilder than the last 20, but there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to buckle up and let's get to work on that. All right, listen, I want to thank you so very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And if by any chance you have enjoyed this video, I'm guessing that you might also enjoy some of these videos over here. These are some of the most popular videos here on my YouTube channel, so please do check those out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, that's all I got for this one. Thanks again for watching, and please stay tuned.